Hey, what's up, everybody? Cartez Ross, moveabroadandthrive.com. Welcome. Today, I have a guest here. They just moved here to Merida and just finally starting to get settled in. I met up with Robert about a week and a half ago, I think.
Yeah.
We went out to get something to eat, and he was just sharing his experiences about Merida. He drove to Merida 3 times?
2 times.
From Texas.
From Texas.
From Texas. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of y'all got a lot of questions about, is it safe to drive? What was his experience like? And he shared a bunch of stories while we were just eating out of just about, getting that transition figured out, whether or not they could stay here permanently and whatnot. So he has a lot of information to share, and I'm excited to have him here today. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you.
So Mexico, why Mexico? How did Mexico get on your radar?
We came here on vacation. We liked the feel of it. And we just said, it would be nice to live here. And that was a 20-year-old, that was 20 years ago. Just a passing thought. And then maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we started thinking about it seriously. Looking at, those television shows where people move abroad.
Okay, yep.
And we were just saying, maybe we could do a 2-bedroom condo or something, And here we are.
And wow. Now you say we, who is you?
Me and my wife.
You and your wife, okay.
Yes, me and my wife.
How is she adjusting? And is she happy? Was she the one who kind of sparked the idea?
Yeah. She's very happy here. She likes it.
Okay.
She stayed here a month before I came down, and without a car.
Wow.
And we're here with my brother-in-law. We take care of him.
Okay.
And her and him were here because they flew down, and I was going to drive down. And she was loving it. I was asking her when I would talk to her over the phone, how does it feel? I said, does it feel like you're on vacation? She said, partially, but not. She said she's trying to get a feel for it. So that was during the conversation.
Okay.
So, but now she's been here for 2 months, and I've been here for 1 month. And I think now I'm just now starting to go into I'm not on vacation, this is real.
Wow. Wow.
So it's cool.
Wow. So, okay, so y'all been here a month. Hold on, I'm sorry. Charlie, I'm recording, baby. Thank you, ma'am. These kids, man, I don't know what to do. So you mentioned, so you've been here a month. Your wife been here 2 months. Y'all bought a home previously.
Yes.
How long ago was that, and was that an investment? Just something y'all want to move into? How does that story play out?
We bought a home back in 2017.
Okay.
And we were planning on, at that time, we didn't know if we want to live down here permanently or come down here 6 months out of the year, or just have it as a vacation home where we do an Airbnb or something like that. But at the present time, we haven't done any remodeling to it or anything.
Okay.
So we're just renting an apartment right now.
Okay.
Yes.
So you told me a story. Well, before we get into all of that, what do you think about Mexico so far? As in terms of now, no longer been on vacation, is it everything has it lived up to his expectations since being here? Okay.
I have this word that I use called when you're dealing with unknowns, you have to put your flex hat on, right? Which means you got to be flexible.
Correct.
You got to learn to go with the flow or whatever. So if you can kind of put your flex hat on and realize this is not the United States, and it is Mexico, and then let your mind and body change to the culture, it's great.
Wow.
It's great.
What's been the biggest flex moment that you had to deal with?
These are some of the issues that I have, and they're not big, And when we get our house, I think I'll solve them.
Okay.
But it's water pressure on the shower.
I can relate.
When we got our apartment, it came furnished, and the mattress seems a little hard, so we have to get us a new bed. And what's the other one? Of course, the heat. Everybody talks about the heat, but we have AC, so that's not a big deal. And then, believe it or not, me and my wife, we'll go around the day, 90% of the day with no AC. After a month and 2 months already.
Wow.
Ceiling fans and
so you get used to it.
You get used to it. You adapt. And we put a thermometer in the house so we could see what the temperature is in the house, and the temperature is like 82, 84.
Okay.
And we're okay unless we cook.
Okay.
And then when we cook, we got to turn the AC on. And then every now and then, we have to turn the AC on anyway.
Okay. Yeah, because earlier this afternoon, it was about 91 degrees, and I had the air conditioning on, and my daughter came down and turned the air conditioning off and wrapped herself up in a blanket. And I'm like, it's 91 degrees outside. What are you cold? And so, like you said, we adapt to it. Because sometimes them temperatures be 105, 107, and when it dropped down to 90 degrees, it's chilly.
It's a little chilly.
You feel it. You literally feel the difference. So
we get cold at night sometime with the AC off.
Ooh, I've been there.
We don't sleep with the AC on at night. We just had I like the ceiling fan on 3 or 4, and my wife likes it on 2. So, when I go to bed, she turns it on 2.
She cranks it up.
Before she comes in the room, I turn it on 3. So.
Wow. Well, I'll say my biggest flex moment, you mentioned the water pressure, the heat, what was the other thing you said?
The water pressure, the heat, and the mattress.
And the mattress. I'd say my biggest issue that I've now got it resolved. I've come to grips with it. I come to terms. Is when you buy services or need something repaired, and these guys tell you I'll be there at 2:00, and you sitting at your house at 2:00. You rushing to get back home, and they don't even show up until the next day. No phone call, no nothing. And then they just randomly show up, and it's like, for real, dude.
We haven't really had that issue except for with our maid.
Okay.
We had a maid that we used when we was staying at Airbnb.
Okay.
And we got her number, and so when we moved here, we were going to use her. Well, when we came out, we drove out the first time. We only stayed for 2 weeks. We drove out. We had her to do a deep cleaning of our apartment. Okay, so now that we're back living here, we wanted her to come like every 2 weeks. Well, she was we had her scheduled to show up, and then she finally told us that she was sick, and we haven't heard anything from her since. We don't know if she's sick. Is it that she just don't want to do our place?
Yeah.
Or we don't know what it is. So other than that, we haven't really had not that I can remember anyway, the issue.
I've dealt with it so many times. I've gotten used to it. It's like you say, it's a cultural thing. It's not like it is in the United States, and apparently everybody, it's the way they are. They say, we'll see you tomorrow. It doesn't necessarily mean literally tomorrow. It just sometime after tomorrow.
It's like when you say bye to somebody. I'll see you later.
Exactly. And so now when they tell me I'll be here at 3, if I get home at 3, I'll be there. If I ain't there at 3, I don't even rush back. I don't even rush to show up because I know half the time they ain't even gonna be there. So that's been the biggest adjustment I had to make, and I've gotten used to it. The same problem with the water pressure. I've gotten used to that.
I'm getting used to that. I take cold showers now.
I didn't think I would ever get used to that.
I didn't either. But the water is not freezing cold. And then right about the time I'm getting used to the cold water, it starts turning hot. And then I have to turn the hot water off.
So folks, these are some adjustments you are going to have to make. But the return, what you get in return is just absolutely priceless.
The return is worth it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Again, just different culture, just different ways of doing things, and but it's definitely not the end of the world. So it sounds scary, but don't let these little things scare you off.
A lot of people think that it's not. A lot of people don't realize that this is a modern society and a modern city here, with all the things and then some that we had in the United States, and they just don't get that, but it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, services like Rappi. Rappi is like an app where you can practically order anything you want, and it's at your door 15, 20, 30 minutes later. You forget the ketchup, order it on the app, they knocking on your door 15 minutes later. You need your medicine, order it on the app, they knocking at your door 15 minutes later. So my kids have gotten to a point where they'll just wander downstairs and say, Daddy, can I order me a candy bar on Rappi? And I'm like, what? You
really?
know, man, Rappi is the devil around here.
Oh, wow. See, okay, driving down here in a car. Okay. We're in a very, very walkable neighborhood.
Very.
Super IKEA is like the end of your driveway. That's how close Super IKEA is to us. And so, man, if we want something, I'll be right back.
Be right back.
Walk to the store and get it. So we don't use delivery services quite that much. But yesterday, my wife ordered pizza from this place that we ate pizza from before, really good pizza. And this is some of the things you have to get used to when you don't speak the language. She ordered pizza, she wanted extra sauce, and it was pepperoni pizza. We got no pepperoni and tomatoes. No extra sauce. But it was still good, so hey, we just ate it.
We've been there. We go to the restaurants, we order something thinking it's something else.
Yes.
And it comes out completely
different than what you thought you would get. That's what I mean by flex hat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow.
Let me tell you a story about this place. We ordered some chicken from Felice Pollo.
Okay.
That's our favorite chicken place now. Okay. But we went there one day getting a family order, you know, because me and my brother-in-law can eat. At least when we first came here, I'm eating a lot less now, but before. And so we got a family order for 7. We were like, man, that seems kind of expensive, but okay. Because expensive here is not expensive, but you know, it was just more than what we thought we should pay for chicken.
Okay.
Well, we get our order, it's not chicken, it's steak. So, and we know that pollo is chicken, but for some reason,
the steak showed up.
We got steak. So, you know, you just...
So that explains the price difference.
Yeah, that explains the price difference. So you just eat it and say, okay, we learned our lesson from that. And it was still good. We just had a taste for chicken.
Just had a taste. Wow.
But pollo, let me see, Felice Chicken. Love that place.
I'm going to write that one down.
Highly recommend it.
Felice Chicken.
It's grilled chicken.
Wow.
And the beans are good too, by the way.
I love me some good beans. I got a hook.
Pollo Felice.
Pollo Felice.
That's what it is. Pollo Felice. What did I say?
Felice Pollo.
Felice Pollo. Okay.
Okay. Wow. My.
Happy chicken.
Happy chicken. Okay. So, let me think. All right. So your trip. You say okay. So you drove. I know a lot of folks are generally concerned about driving. They hear all sorts of horror stories. Most of the horror stories we hear are actually from people who actually never drove.
Yes.
So I'm happy to be talking to somebody who's actually made the trip several times.
Yeah, twice.
What was that like, and why did you drive? What was the driving force behind it?
We decided that we was moving down here, and my wife said, we're just going to have to pack our stuff up and put it in our suitcases, and that's it. I said, honey, I can't leave my photo albums and this and this and this and whatever. I said, plus I need a car. And she's telling me how you can live without a car, and I said, I gotta have a car, honey. I gotta have my
I
car.
know.
I said, I don't need 2 cars, but I gotta have 1 car. And so I started looking on the internet and seeing people that drove here. And so I said, we can do this. So we started, doing the research and see what it takes to drive. And I started doing, she mostly does the deep research, like the paperwork part of it.
Yeah. Go deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just did was, how could I make this drive? And it took us, the first time we came here, it took us 4 days to get here. I can't remember what day we left, but
that was from Texas.
From Dallas, Texas. We north of Dallas in Richardson, but Dallas area.
Okay, 4 days.
We drove from Dallas to Laredo, and that's about 6-7 hours.
Okay.
We stayed overnight. We crossed the border the next day. We drove 500 or 600 miles. It's about a 2,000 mile drive.
God.
So we drove about 500 or 600 miles a day, 400 some days, 500, 600 some other days, but 4 days. Then when we drove back, it took us 3 days to get back.
Okay.
Because we drove a little bit more. The main thing that you do not want to do if you drive here is don't drive at night. And whatever you do, follow your GPS, because and do not take the short routes. Like Google tell you can save 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Stay on the toll road. It's not that it's dangerous if you get off the toll road, but some of the roads, like we got off to save 5 minutes one time. It took us through a town that didn't even really have roads. Okay? And so it's not a hard drive. It's an easy drive. It's a little boring. Speed limit is about US. It's about 65 to 75, but you can easily do 85, because when the wife wasn't in the car, that's about what I drove.
Down by yourself.
Yeah. The second trip I drove by myself, because her and my brother-in-law flew down, and I packed the car like you wouldn't believe. Okay. The passenger seat, the back seat, the trunk, on top of the car and on top of the trunk.
And back of the top of the trunk. Yeah.
Back of the top of the trunk. I have a picture that you can show.
Yeah, send me that picture. I'll post it in the screen.
Yeah. And dude, it was a trip. And
they ain't stop you with all that stuff on the.
I got stopped one time, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I was driving in the wrong lane. I was driving in the fast lane, and with all that on my car, I should have been in the slow lane.
True.
But
I can see that.
But I wasn't driving slow.
You were rolling.
I was rolling. I was rolling. The first day when I drove by myself, I drove from 11:39 on a Thursday night until 5 p.m. No, wait a minute. 4 p.m. Friday evening. And it was 900 and something miles. That don't sound that far.
You were trying to get there.
16 hours. And at that point, that was about halfway. Then I did 2 more days of about 500 each, and I was here.
Whew. So what did you get with televisions, computers? What
man. Televisions, computers,
wow.
Books, towels, sheets, carpet. Carpet here is hard to find.
Okay, yeah.
Their little throw carpet looks like a dish towel.
Literally.
Yeah. And so, what else? Pots and pans.
Okay.
Blenders, coffee pots. I had to bring my Keurig. I may not be pronouncing that right, but. And then you get here and they don't even have the K-cups. But we got the little plastic one that you can empty the coffee out and put coffee back in it, so that's what I use.
Wow.
Couple of the little stuff that you don't have to have, but I want it.
You wanted it.
But
anything you wish you would have brought with you? That anything you're missing?
No, I think we got just about got it.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm missing it. I wish I would have bought a Roku before I came, but other than that, that's about it.
So what about any other tips for anybody driving down? How did you plan your route? How did you know where to stay? I've heard folks say there's certain towns you want to stay in, certain places you don't want to stay in.
Yeah, okay. Like I say, my wife does most of the research on that part.
Okay.
So she paid some amount of money to get this guy to give him the best hotels and areas and stuff like that to stay in. So she knew what towns to stay in, and we wanted to stay at hotels that were close to the highway.
Okay.
So we could get in
and get out.
And now that I done drove it, the Warren is a good hotel to stay in, and it seemed like it was in all the towns. And
is it the one?
The Warren. And then maybe it was just one hotel, and there was another one, Express something. I can't remember the name of it either. And there was one more that I can't think of that we stayed in. I don't remember the name of it, but they have a lot of hotel chains.
Okay. And this guy y'all found him on the internet.
Yeah, and then just like you do any trip, she always looks at the reviews.
Okay.
And see what they say, and they're pretty honest about their reviews.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what we use. And when I drove by myself, she already I told her what town I wanted to be in that night, and she would book my hotels for that night.
Okay.
And we kind of knew the route already. And like the first time, like I say, I turned off my GPS because we were trying to save our data.
Gotcha.
Okay. This time, I'm by myself. I made sure I didn't get lost, turn around, because we did the first time. And I did not turn off my GPS. I kept it on 100%. And I didn't make no wrong turns. So it was an easy trip.
Wow. You did it twice.
Did it twice.
God.
In a 1 month period or 2 month period of time. Yeah.
Man.
I used to have a truck driving company, and I had drivers working for me.
Okay.
I never drove, but I had drivers working for me, and I used to yell at them. I'm like, why couldn't you be here at this time, man? You had this many hours. You only had to go this many miles. Okay, after you drive,
when you drive. The real world.
You understand that you can be in a toll booth line for an hour or 2 hours.
Wow.
Just waiting on a toll booth. And you don't calculate that kind of stuff when you're the manager telling somebody to drive. But,
wow.
It happens.
My. You told me, and I'm going back to the quality of life, you told me a story when y'all met a lady, I guess, who had been living here for a few years, and she was living. You asked her how she rated living here versus living back home in California, I think.
She lived in California.
Can you share that story?
Okay. We came here last year in November to stay for 1 month.
Okay.
To get a feel for what it was like to live here. And this lady that I met, and the only reason I met her is because I heard somebody speaking English, and I say, did I hear somebody say something? Anyway, so we had dinner together at this restaurant, and then before we left, she invited us over to her house for dinner. And she had some other friends there. Well, we met this lady, and I'm talking to her about, just like when you meet anybody here, the number one thing that you talk about is what it's like living in Mexico.
Exactly.
Okay, so we started talking about that. And so I asked her, if you could rate, because I'm trying to get a feel for what it's like to live in Mexico at that time, because it's heavy on our mind. And I asked her, I said, if you could rate your life from 0 to 10, living in California, how would you rate it? And she said it was a 2. And I was like, a 2? A 2? And then she went on to explain. She said that in California, she had a house, she worked 2 jobs, she had to have someone renting out a bedroom just to make her mortgage. And then she said, like, when she go to a concert, she couldn't afford to go to concerts, and when she did go, it cost her $200 and she don't even have good seats, and she just really didn't have a personal life. Okay. And then so I asked her, I said, okay, I get that.
I can get that, yeah.
Somebody
living in the house to help pay the mortgage.
Yeah, working all the time. I said, okay, so if you did that same thing here in Mexico, you've been here, 3-4 years now. How would you rate your life here from 0 to 10? And she was like, an 11. I was like, come on.
You like, oh, you're talking crazy.
Yeah, she's just talking crazy now. I said, really? Come on now. She said, no, Robert, really. She said, I've been here for 3 years. The first, I don't know how many years it was, she didn't have a car.
Okay.
She said, but I volunteer at some kind of civic center or a library. She said, I meet plenty of people. She said, when I go to concerts now, I can afford to buy front row seats. She said, I have an active social life because I don't have to work all the time.
Yeah.
And she said she just loved it. And I was kind of in disbelief a little.
Wow.
You know how people always add a little?
Yeah,
Okay.
exaggerated.
So I figured that her lifestyle wasn't a 2, it was probably a 5. And I figured her lifestyle here wasn't an 11, it was probably an 8. And I said, okay, even with those numbers.
Even with an 8, yeah.
It's still an improvement.
Exactly.
So,
And did she have her own place here?
she was renting an apartment.
Okay.
She doesn't even have her own place.
So no roommate or anything?
No
like
roommate.
That? Okay. Wow.
But she loves it.
Loves it.
And every time we look at her on Facebook, she's somewhere in some other part of the country visiting somewhere.
And it's
Constantly
cheaper once
going.
you get in here to go within to fly around.
And she's not a kid. She's retired. She's like in her 60s.
Wow.
So, and she's just going.
Having the time of her
Having
life.
the time of her life. So.
My.
And she was keeping her mother, but she put her mother in a elderly home.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And
Here in Mexico?
Here in Mexico.
Okay, so she was able to afford to do that too.
She was able to afford to do that too.
Whew.
So now one advantage that she did have is she was originally from Argentina.
Okay.
She moved to the United States and retired, and then she moved to Mexico. So she could speak Spanish. So that explains a lot of it too.
So she can get around quite easily.
It's just jump right in and go. We don't quite have that advantage.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, how are you navigating? How is your Spanish? Because mine is a 1 out of 30.
Yeah. Same here. My Spanish is horrible. But I'm learning words.
Okay.
And I'm taking I bought a Spanish course before I left the States. And I'm taking that, and it's taking me slow. And my wife's Spanish is way better than mine. And she's doing online classes right now.
Okay.
But she's coming along much faster than I am. But I am coming along.
You're coming along.
Yeah.
How are you able to navigate
daily?
Yeah, during the month that you've been here. What you say, 2 months, 1 month?
1 month now.
1 month. How are you? Is it challenging for you to get around and do the things you want to do? Because a lot of folks are like, well, I don't know the language, I can't survive. It's going to be very difficult for me. What's it like for you? Is it overwhelming?
It seems weird, but it's not overwhelming.
Okay.
At all. When I keep my phone with me 100% of the times. When I absolutely can't understand what they're saying, because a lot of times you can do it with hand gestures, or facial expressions, or something like that. But when I absolutely can't get by with that, I pull out the Google and hit Google Translate.
There you go.
And it'll get you pretty close. It's a lifesaver.
That thing right there is a godsend.
Yes, it is. And it works a whole lot better today than it did in 2017 when we was here. Because we couldn't get GPS good in 2017. Now GPS is
got everything.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if that's the 5G or just improved. Period. Probably a little bit of both. Yeah.
My. Yeah, because I know when I was staying in South America, Colombia, outside of Medellin, because in the smaller cities there, nobody spoke English. And man, it was challenging there. But the difference here, there's a lot more English speakers here. And generally when you're out and about, if you get into a bind, there's generally somebody who can help you out.
It'll be their wife or their sister or a friend. You go to the store. We went to Office Depot to buy a desk and some chairs. One lady spoke English.
There you go.
And she got us through. Ooh. So, you just they say they don't speak it much.
Yeah.
But I wish my Spanish was like their English.
Man.
Oh.
If I could speak like them, I'd be, man.
Yes.
God.
Their English is very well. It's good.
And I hear that all the time. They be so modest. My English is horrible. I'm like, man, if I could just speak half of what you do
in Spanish, I would be good.
I'd be happy.
Yes.
So I tell them they should be proud of themselves, pat themselves on the back. And I understood everything
you said. And every now and then they may run across one word that say, I don't know how they say, and you kind of know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So you just help them with it.
Yeah. Wow.
But I've had ladies telling me something in Spanish, and I just look at them. I don't know what they're talking about. And I had to buy a plunger today. I went to Ace Hardware. They
got one of them.
I went to Ace Hardware, and I bought the plunger, and I got ready to pay for it, and I went up to a counter, and it wasn't the counter. It was the help desk. So the lady come up to me telling me something. I'm like, I'm just looking at her. And then finally I realized, this is not a pay counter. So I just, you don't know what they're telling you, but you know they're telling you something. So finally I figured it out. But all the words sound like the same words to me. Unless every now and then they run across one of them words that I just learned in my class, So, but I'm navigating it. I'm getting through.
And you learn from those incidents. You learn a new word. You learn, particularly when you go out to restaurants, you start to learn how to order because you're going back and forth to the same restaurant many times, asking for the same stuff. So you start picking up these words, and slowly, one by one, you get it. So if you can just get through them first few months and just
it gets better.
It gets better, and just understand a year from now, you're gonna be in a whole lot better shape than you are today.
I went to a manicure pedicure place, and I found out that manicure and pedicure, I guess it's the same. So I said, necesito manicure pedicure, and she was like, sí. I was like, okay. So hey, I knew what necesito meant.
Exactly.
That's I need.
One word at a time.
Yeah. So I'm learning, man.
My. I'm telling y'all, Mexico is a great place. It caught me completely off guard because I was really looking for a place to live in Colombia, but due to the riots they had in Colombia, I said I'd come here until things cooled off. And once I got here, I just fell in love with this city. I mean, it was beyond expectations.
It's beyond expectations. We went to the movies. We like that. What else have we done?
And we're going deep sea fishing.
In a couple of weeks. I think I was bugging you when I was first trying to get in touch with you.
No, you wasn't no bother. I was so busy and I caught up with other things.
I told my wife, I said, I'm just going to leave him alone. Man, when you called me that Saturday, I was so happy.
I mean, we had a good time. I get so preoccupied and all this other stuff, and I had a bunch of other stuff going on, and so I knew you lived in Central, so I was down in Central looking for some walking shoes because I'd be out there walking them streets, and the place I got to, they were closed, and so I was like, man, Robert live over here. Let me call him up.
Yeah.
And so I called him up. We hung out for a few hours, went out, got
easily for a few hours.
Yeah. That time went by quick. Just click. So there's opportunities to meet not only local folks but other expats with similar interests and stuff. And so we just clicked very well. And he told me about a fishing trip So we can go out there and do some deep sea fishing. We're gonna record that as well because again, a lot of the stuff that you do at home, you can do right here.
And then some, because we're right by the ocean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I got I was watching one of your other previous videos, and you said if you want to meet people and you're living here, you might want to start trying to meet some locals because you want to meet people that are going to live here.
Exactly.
And I think you're right with that.
Yeah.
So not just the vacationers.
The vacationers, because they come and go.
They come and go. You want some permanent friends.
Exactly. Because when they start leaving and everybody start leaving, you're going to feel you missing out on something. You're going to be like, man, what's going on? We need to go. You're going to get in that mindset that you need to leave. And, it just kind of spoils your plans. Unless you're traveling,
Unless you're traveling, then you're not staying here.
Exactly. So there's lots of opportunities to meet locals here. I got my kids in some dance classes and the other one taking music classes. So it seems like every time we go drop them off or hang out there, other parents, we're naturally mingling with the locals.
That's right.
And as well as the teacher. And for the first time the other day, I was walking down the road. Well, I was actually in the store, saw the music teacher, and I'm like, man, okay, I'm finally getting to a place where I'm bumping into folks that you recognize and see, and I'm like, all right, it's starting to feel more like home, a homey feeling that you're in the right place. So
that's nice.
It's a good place.
We found us a church to go to on Sundays.
Wow.
I don't know if we're gonna make it our church home yet, but again, we're meeting people that live here. And it's English speaking.
Really?
Yes.
In the English speaking expats or English speaking local Mexicans?
Mostly expat, but it may be one or two locals because the next service is a Spanish service, so the locals can come to that service.
So the local, okay.
And it's a Christian church.
Wow.
It's called can't find the name right now. Calvary Chapel.
Calvary Chapel.
Yes, Calvary Chapel.
Okay, Calvary Chapel. And that's in Central?
That's in Central. Between 59 and 67 on, I don't know the name of the street right now. Right by a little park. One thing you have to remember when you go to Central is no parking. Parking is scarce.
Okay.
Yes. Hard to find parking spaces. So at first when we was going, the first 2 times we went, my wife would get in service on time, but I wouldn't because I'm trying to find a parking space. But now we're getting on up and going a little bit earlier so we can both get in there on time.
Cool. Any other words of advice or words of wisdom, anything else you would want people to know who are thinking about coming here, those who might be afraid, listening to family and friends, telling them, no, this is a bad place?
First of all, the interpretation that you get from television is not the way it really is. That's number one. Number two, if you expect it to be 100% like the United States, it's not. But it's not far from it.
Exactly.
And the benefits that you get outweighs the things that are, I don't know how to put that, but it outweighs it.
Yeah.
And you just gotta test and see. You gotta test the waters and see. And especially if you're retired, you can come down here and stay for a month and see what it's like. And there are places where you can rent $200-300 a month.
Absolutely.
See if you like it, or you can get an Airbnb for a month and see how you like it, and just take a long vacation. That's what we did last year, and try to do as much, look around and see as much as you can to see if you can just deal with the day-to-day life. There's a lot here to do. They have the COVID-19 is kind of shutting a lot of it down. Otherwise, there would be things to do here almost every day of the week.
Every day.
that are not expensive things to do.
That's what I like most.
Oh man, and I mean, it's a very cooperative town as far as events to do. They have art shows, movie theaters, bowling alleys, fishing, museums, concerts, all kinds of cultural events. But then you got the cenotes, and I was looking at, cause you know my family, all the people in my family have got their passports since we moved here.
Wow.
So I was trying to come up with things for them to do. They have a walking tour that you can do that lasts about 2 to 3 hours, where you get to taste the place, the different foods and stuff. We haven't done that, and I was thinking me and my wife may actually do that. But you're walking for about 3 hours, so you got to have your good shoes on. But you just have to look on not YouTube, but Google.
Yeah.
Travel Advisor, and get on these. I'm not a Facebook guy, but my wife is.
Okay.
So she get on these Facebook groups and all this kind of stuff, and we find different places to eat, different things to do that people like, and don't be afraid to try it.
There you go. Try it. Worst case scenario, if it don't work out, you can go back home. Like Robert said, come hang out for a month. You know, it's cheap enough where you can do that.
Yes.
And if during those 30 days, 2 weeks in, you decide you don't want to stay the other 2 weeks,
back up and leave
and go.
Yes.
You know, that's the worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario.
Don't necessarily listen to other folks who have not been here. Don't let them sway you. Jump in those Facebook groups, talk to people that are actively and currently here, and get feedback from them. Favorite Facebook group that's you've been helpful. I know you say this your wife.
Yeah, my wife. What's the favorite Facebook group, honey? Brothers and sisters. That is it's a local group here in Merida. Great group. That's where I spent most of my time in when I first got here. Full of resources, lots of great people that are very, very, very helpful people in that group. So definitely recommend you participate and join that group. On YouTube, there's this couple, the Yarboroughs.
Okay.
And then you have Tangerine Travels. They're on YouTube as well.
Is that Tangerine?
Tangerine, like an orange.
Okay,
Tangerine. Tangerine Travels. They have come through Merida and stayed for extended periods of time. And they tell you a lot of different restaurants. And you can dine out at restaurants from up here all the way down to the floor almost.
Exactly.
So, me and my wife trying to come up with a fancy restaurant for us on our anniversary. To go out to.
Okay. When is your anniversary?
Next month. On the 21st.
I'll ask David on that one. He's a local guy, foodie guy.
Okay.
He tends to find some real good spots to eat. And I'll get a small list from him. There's lots of things to do. I'm excited to go fishing.
Yes.
I'll tell Robert, my dad used to take us fishing. We never caught nothing. So I'm hoping that we catch something. And we're going on the boat. So we got a tour, a boat guide that's going to take us out in the water.
And one of the boat guides is a guy that I go to church with.
Connections, relationships.
Yeah, relationships.
Wow. So I'm looking forward to that. So, again, all the stuff you do at home, they have biking tours out here.
Yes.
People who bicycle, them cyclists who just ride up and down the street. Everything you do at home is much cheaper. So some of the stuff you probably couldn't afford to do at home now
it's easy on the wallet.
Easier, a whole lot easier.
A whole lot easier on the wallet.
Man, I love it. Well, go ahead.
Oh, and then with our fishing trip, just because we're locals now, we get a discount price off the fishing trip. Ooh. So, that's nice as well.
Can't beat it, folks. Can't beat it. Y'all got to get out here and check it out for yourself. So, wow. So, man, grateful for you coming out, sharing your experience. Thank you very much. Like I say, Robert, they've been living here for a while. They own a house, and they're a great resource. And y'all have any questions, leave comments, and I imagine if they get a chance to chime in and answer some of your comments, they will, hopefully. And anything else on top of your mind?
It seemed like I didn't answer much about driving, but if you drive in your travels, it's just like any other drive.
Okay.
It's not a big deal at all. Just one thing I will say is carry cash, because when you go through the toll booth, you need to pay in cash. Pesos.
Pesos. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, it's just like any other road trip.
Now, where did you exchange your U.S. dollars for pesos before coming into the?
When I got to Laredo,
okay,
there's a lot of money exchange places there, so you can easily change your money there.
Awesome, money exchanges. Okay, awesome, man. I'm glad, man. I think it's gonna be a big hit. This interview here, so I'm looking forward to sharing this.
I'm looking forward to seeing it myself.
Yeah. So we're gonna get this wrapped up online pretty quick. And man, thanks again. I appreciate y'all coming out. Pleasure meeting you.
Oh yeah.
And
hopefully we'll be real good friends.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm looking forward to on this fishing trip. I'm gonna hook up with you on a Sunday. Go to y'all church one Sunday.
Okay.
And check that out. So yeah. So I think we're gonna be hanging out quite a bit.
Oh yeah. And Teddy, if you're watching this, he said he can bowl. We'll find out.
Yeah, we're gonna find out now. I'm gonna have to go get me a bowling ball. I didn't bring my bowling ball with me.
That's another thing I had to bring.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go in there and get fitted. And once I get my ball and my little
wrist
thing,
break, yeah,
and my little towel, oh, it's gonna be on.
Is it be on? Okay. All right.
We gonna post some scores in here.
Yes.
Well, appreciate y'all and thank y'all for watching. Cartes here, Move Abroad and Thrive.